And here we are with the high school segment here on the Spainer and Riggs episode. We got a very special guest, Mr. Nick Hulberg, executive producer, main play-by-play guy, everything to do with Pro Style Productions. Been covering a lot of high school sports. We're excited to have him on the show. How are we doing today, Nick?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I don't know between you two here. I don't know if I'm going to get a word in edgewise. I'm excited to talk to you though, for sure.
Absolutely. No, hey, the last probably 3 weeks have been absolutely wild in high school sports, and Pro Style Production has literally been there every step of the way, either through the regional tournaments on the Class A, Class B side, and then of course Class A state championships, and then doing stuff with Class B with all of your platforms. What's been the exciting part for you in the last probably couple weeks? Has there been a certain tournament area, either you calling it or just being a part of Pro Style Production with one of your play-by-play guys?
I think the most interesting piece to the whole thing for me is just watching the expansion of our mission, which is to promote high school athletes and the work that they put into these sports that they play. Over the course of the last 90 days, we've reached 100,000 unique viewers, and we've had close to 500,000 views on our content, which is just great for the kids and the promotion of these athletes. So I think that's pretty neat. And then the other piece of it is just being involved in the competition, being a sports guy and a play-by-play guy for all these years. I love it. Tournament time, there's nothing better than watching playoff anything, and being there in the front row for it has been, on a personal level, pretty darn neat. It's been a lot of fun.
Hey, so tell us, State B, Ryan gives a unbelievable effort to try to dethrone Kindred, the defending champs, in that semifinal, but Ryan's got everyone back, and then they have the Walls kid, that freshman, who just, he almost carried him on his back in that game. They were with the length of Kindred. Tell me, what do you think about Ryan? And maybe they have a chance, you think, next year to run it?
Yeah, I think they have a really solid chance. And I think that the biggest thing that I see with sports and certainly at the high school level is you get that experience with a younger team to get to the big dance, and it only just propels you further and further as those kids' careers continue on. And you guys both know just as well as anyone that confidence level is, 75% of everything that happens inside of the game of sports and inside the brain. And yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to be from Minot and be able to have the opportunity to call Ryan games, and of course the Magi as well. But yeah, Class B basketball, Bishop Ryan Region 6 should definitely be a favorite next year without a doubt.
Now you switch over to the Class A side, and just to see how the excitement that happened with both Minot High teams winning. Of course, you obviously cover statewide stuff, and so we certainly have touched on a lot of statewide stuff, but it's pretty special, especially with your ties and being able to cover a lot of what goes on with Minot High. But what were your thoughts on the double championships for both our girls and boys?
Well, first of all, this is a funny story. So I cover the Magi and Majets all year long, right? Along with Scotty Cattell, legend voice of Minot State, Minot High sports, Region 6 sports. I cover the Magi all season long. We get to the state tournament, and I have a contract. PSP Network has a contract with the Minot Hockey Boosters to broadcast whatever state tournament is at the Pepsi rink at Mesa Arena. This year, that state tournament was a 15U girls hockey tournament. So when Minot High was winning dual state championships, I was actually calling West Fargo and Fargo Pee Wee girls hockey at the Mesa Arena, sitting there like a tiger in a cage going, you got to be kidding me. I'm missing out on the most magical night ever for Minot High basketball. So from a personal level, that's where I was at. I was locked in listening on PSP Network to Todd Domries and Chuck Claremont down in Bismarck. And man, I'm not going to lie. I got home from that Pee Wee hockey tournament, and I turned it on TV and was listening on PSP Network. And, there was a moment where they panned over and showed Jason Shores, the head coach of the Majets, standing there with the magician crowd, and in the student section. And I'm not going to lie, I was sitting in my living room and I had tears running down my face. I was like, this is pretty special. I mean, it just is something that when they break a streak the way that they did, and against the team that they did it against, talking about the Majets and Century now, of course, but that was so magical. And then, Minot High getting back to the big dance on the boys side, and, slam dunk, double D, and Wentz and the whole crew. I mean, it was just a fantastic all around run, and what a prime time to be a fan of the maroon and gold, without a doubt.
What did you think of Maggie Fricky? I mean, basically single-handedly just dribbling through the press of Century over and over and over as an eighth grader. And I just thought she was going to run out of gas. And she just kept like speed dribbling through and getting them up the court and then pulling back to the midcourt line and then setting up the offense for them. But I mean, she did it like
As an eighth
35
grader.
times or something in that game.
Yeah, I mean, for me to sit here and say that I'm beyond impressed would be an understatement. I mean, I think about what I was doing in eighth grade, and it was watching South Park and sitting on the couch eating a bag of Cheetos every Wednesday night when Comedy Central had that on, and here she's winning state titles. I mean, it's more than impressive. I think the sky's the limit for her and that whole team. I think everybody should buckle up with her coming back and that whole group.
Absolutely.
Because we've got a dynasty forming here in the Magic City, and I think that you can stamp that one guaranteed.
Absolutely. Now walk us through here, in the last probably year or so. I mean, there's no secret. I've known Nick for a long time, and certainly a heart for hockey was his big thing. And now it's really evolved. Coverage of Class B, Class A basketball. And big thing for you too, man, is you've been able to partner with some really good play-by-play guys down in Bismarck, and then obviously Scotty K here in Minot and a few other guys. Tell us a little bit about the journey, man, and how this has kind of really evolved or morphed into a huge need that's been a big success, because it's exploded here in the last couple of years.
I think the biggest piece to all of it and the entire conversation is that we live in such a unique world. I'm sitting in the PSP offices south of Minot, about 10 miles out, wherever you guys are located. And, we're doing this remotely, and the ability for us to have a conversation and to be clear as day in HD and listen to each other in HD and have a real-time conversation is just a piece of the puzzle of the world that we're living in. And that's that digital media is the new wave. And nothing against terrestrial radio or TV over the air, anything like that. I just believe that we're moving in a direction where 98% of Americans have a smartphone in their pocket. Well, that means that we've got the ability to deliver content to them and to be able to get them the game wherever they may be. And I think that that's a really beautiful piece to this. And when this kind of evolved, we started back in 2014, and we started with doing Minot High hockey, Minot State hockey, and Toros hockey. We did a little bit of Vistas baseball that summer as well, and we had a pay-per-view model, and we did some things in a way that we didn't really catch our stride. We went back to the drawing board with it and really took a deep dive into what we're actually doing this for. And what we came up with is that, the reason that we want to do this is to promote these kids and give the kids the opportunity to have the spotlight on them and the coverage. And in doing so, we found a way to go back through and provide this content free of charge for people to watch wherever they may be. We rebranded from Pro Style Production, the parent company, if you will, to PSP Network, which was easier for people to find online by just typing in psp.network, and then having the platform where on any given night you can have 4 games that you can watch or more, depending on what's on the schedule. And, watching it evolve the way it has is really a beautiful thing for sports fans and more importantly for the athletes across the board. There's a lot here that we're very, very proud of. And I think that there's kind of like Maggie Fricky and Double D there, Derek, to set the sky's the limit for what we're looking to do as well.
So one thing that I've been told, and I know you've been told, we have something in common. We kind of say what we see, maybe approach when we're talking about things. I feel like North Dakota's the people in North Dakota are tougher people. And do you think that, the way you call games and the way you see games, do you think it's refreshing? Do you think it's good for the sport? Do you think that people that are talking about sports have gotten too soft as the years go on? And I know we're doing high school, so it's going to be scaled a little bit, but I mean, tell us about your approach to calling things.
I like that question. And it's a tiptoe through the snow kind of an answer coming here because of the world that we live in today. And I guess my answer to that would be that, Larry McFall said it best a few years back when he was interviewed by the News about our broadcasting together at that time. And basically Larry said, if it stinks, we're going to tell you it stinks. And I think that there's people that are out there. I'm fully aware that I've got fans, and I'm fully aware that there's people that probably can't stand my call as well, for that reason. But at the same time, I would say that, I pride myself in telling you how it is. And the people that in hockey, for example, the people that are the pure hockey fans and the lovers of the game and the alumni and the people around the state that, really have a good grip on it, I think appreciate that. I think maybe not everybody does at the same time, appreciate the blunt honesty. However, I work on that with quite often as well, though, of walking, like I said, tiptoe through the snow on making sure not to, overstep bounds and things like that. And I'm passionate about it too, though. So there's times where you'll get a raw call from me if it's a minor high game or, game that I'm passionate about. So I don't know. It's scarier the more time passes and the more we get into the years to come, the more the scarier it becomes, I guess, to tell it how it is, I guess. And, I had a lady that emailed me during the Region 6 championship. This is a priceless story. I'm on the call at the Region 6 championship with Velva and Ryan in just what ended up being a pretty good basketball game up at the Dome. Absolutely. And I've got all of our broadcast gear set up. And right next to the our broadcast laptop is a laptop that we use to monitor to make sure the game's going well and on the air. Well, that also has our Facebook on it. And a woman reached out and said, right in the middle of the broadcast, this message pops up right on the screen, and it said, "These announcers are terrible. They need to be fired immediately. They're just embarrassing." And I read it as it's live, and I'm like, man, we don't have any other games on tonight. She's talking about me. What is this? So I think that's the other piece to it, though, guys, is where you look at it is, in this day and age, the biggest piece to that is that, hey, it's recorded. It's there for live replay where people can go back and watch it, which is different than anything in the past. And also the ability where if I don't like what you guys are doing, I can find your name and address and show up at your front door if I want to too, which is just a crazy time we live in. So yeah, I like the question, and the answer there again is just, I call it how I see it. And if you don't like it, then you're invited to watch somewhere else, I guess. And that's not trying to be rude, but we're doing it the best we can.
I got one more question, unless you got one afterward too, Spainer. But my biggest thing is, what's next now? I mean, we've gone through the heart of the high school season. You had hockey, it wrapped up, and you guys covered, West Region hockey and then the state championship, and then of course the basketball side. What's next for PSP? I mean, it seems like you guys are morphing and will call just about anything if there's an audience, and of course your partners are partnering for you. But what's the next 2 to 3 months schedule look like for the PSP network?
After 15 tournaments in the last 5 weeks, the first thing that was up on deck was me taking a couple days to go visit my wife and little guy that I basically didn't see for all that time. So I took a few days off, more like 5 days off, and now we look forward to a little bit of baseball. We'll get into baseball and girls softball as well. That schedule won't be as aggressive as our basketball and hockey schedule. We mixed swimming in this year. We mixed wrestling in this year. We worked at a pretty fast clip this year. We had football and volleyball on as well, and boys and girls hockey also. So yeah, we're looking forward to a little bit of baseball, a little bit of softball. I'm big into the dirt track racing world, so I'll be announcing dirt track at Nodak Speedway again this summer for Darn TV. I'll be on the mod tour and on the Tougher Than Dirt tour, I do believe, traveling around the state for those big prestigious dirt track events. And other than that, we'll be putting our pen to the paper and making a game plan for next year and putting together a broadcast schedule that hopefully, again, is the same, if not more, games next year for the kids to have showcased online.
Absolutely.
So you brought in Scotty K, the Hall of Famer. The longtime voice of the Beavers, and tell us a little bit about Scotty. He's a great dude. Him and I are really good friends.
Scotty K is a absolute legend, and there'll be a day that Scotty retires, and there'll be a day that I write a book, and there will be a whole chapter on the stories with my experiences with Scotty K. And I promise that everybody will be laughing from left to right, falling out of their chair on some of the experiences I've had with that guy in the amount of time that I've been able to work with him at PSP Network. I've known him for a long time. I give him all the credit in the world and all the respect in the world. There's nobody that, has more passion for this. There's nobody that has more love for the games and for the kids. And, Scotty's actually the one that, over all those years, I always used to say to Scotty K, I'd always used to say to him, Scotty, you're a Hall of Famer. It's time for you to get into the Sportscasters Hall of Fame. And he would always say to me, it's for the kids. It's for the kids. And that's kind of where our mission statement came from, was doing this for the kids and nobody else. And, Scott really deserves a lot of credit. He's not a spring chicken anymore. And man, we ran him wild here over tournament time. He was a part of a lot of those games and a lot of those calls and traveling all over the place. So yeah, a lot of credit to Scotty. I do have to say that Scotty whooped my tail last year in a couple rounds of golf, so I'm excited to get back out on the club here. That he can stroke it.
Good deal.
And we'll be looking forward to seeing if we can take him down on the golf course this year. But yeah, great guy overall, and couldn't be happier that he's a part of what we're doing.
Absolutely.
So I put up a post on TikTok, and I said basically, I say that North Dakota Class A boys and girls, North Dakota Class B boys and girls would go to South Dakota and sweep them out. You think I'm way off?
Look, man, I'm not gonna lie. Ask me about Red River Mounted High hockey next year. I'll give you a better answer on that one. I'm not exactly sure if I am the guy to. You'd think that being a part of 200 basketball games this year, I know that answer, but I'd like to think that you're right. I mean, I think that, you put your starting five on the floor that comes out of North Dakota, man, my goodness, there's some players on both boys and girls sides of basketball that are more than impressive. So I'd like to say that you're right. Yeah. I guess I don't know that answer.
I just think it'd be hard. I think it'd be hard to find a Class B team that could beat the Kindred girls. And they won every game by almost 40 points. And, they beat a Grafton team whose best players foregoing her senior year to go to South Dakota, who just eliminated Baylor. And they beat them by 24 in the state championship game. Then you look at, 4 wins. I mean, they basically have Tony Parker, a left-handed Tony Parker playing with Jacoby Pearson. I mean, I don't know. I got beat down by the Desmond. They said there's no chance they could beat Desmond in South Dakota. So I just wanted your take on that. But I like North Dakota. I fight for North Dakota. I'm North Dakota's perspective, obviously Spanner and Riggs, and I like to say it's true.
I say we put it together. I say we get let's get a little AAU basketball going here and see what we can do. Let's
put it on the PSP network. We'll definitely do that too.
That's right.
I love that idea. I'm in. Absolutely. I'm in for it.
Absolutely. Well, good. Well, hey, Nick, we want to thank you for coming up on our podcast. And like I said, a big shout out to what you've done. And the other side of this thing, which is unintended benefits, is that there's a lot of extra eyes and ability for scouts to be able to watch these games. Historically, basketball games are in some gyms that have zero coverage, and same with the hockey world. And being able to have a camera and being able to broadcast it benefits those athletes, and so it certainly benefits them. But a kudos to you, man. It's been awesome to see you expand and give it the coverage and everything that it deserves, and it's all a testament to your hard work, man. So we appreciate all you're doing for high school athletics, and thanks for coming on our episode.
I appreciate you guys so much. And about that first comment, I just have to tell you, I don't know where that came from, the get a word in edgewise thing. You guys just let me talk, and I probably talk too much. So thanks for having me. Hey, I love what you guys are doing as well.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Nick.
You bet.